Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Sixth Report. Today I'm joined with Sean Sampson, CEO of EV Nickel, to talk about the recent news today. Sean, it's always a pleasure chatting with you. Today is June 12th, at time of recording, but I'll give you the floor to update the audience on today's press release, and we can take it from there.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for having me. We're really excited about today's news. We came out with the new resource, the updated resource on our high-grade W4 deposit. So this is really the culmination of the great drilling we've been releasing over the past year and a half, where we discovered the W4 extension, so going deeper, and then out on the eastern flank. So W4 had been a little under 700,000 tons, about 1% grade nickel, down to about 300 meters or so. And the resource we came out with today was a 2 million ton resource, all in with measured, indicated, and inferred at 0.98. So again, really good mineralization, goes down a little deeper. And the great news is it's open at depth and down plunge. So this is a great step. We've got the resource on the books now, and we can begin advancing our high grade deposit, which we have permitted. We began the permitting process last year, and we hope to be up and ready for production in 3 to 4 years.
Perfect. So why don't you elaborate further on that? It extends further. So with all this expansion potential at W4, what are the next steps?
Yeah, so next steps are we're going to continue to push along with permitting sort of what we've got, the 2 million ton resource. And of course, there'll be subsequent drilling to get everything up into the measured category by the time we're ready to get that final permit and be operating. But we're also going to be working down the path of subsequent studies. So after we get the resource, obviously PEA, potentially PFS, and then FS, really charging along to get the W4 up and into production. One of the really neat things we have with the W4 is that it comes right to surface. The mineralization is all above 500 meters, but also 7 kilometers away is a permitted processing plant, which is already there. And used to run nickel ore from our area, the Shaw Dome. A private company who's an investor in ours owns that plant. In addition, there's another high-grade deposit 3.5 kilometers away from the W4. That same company owns that deposit. So there's great synergies there with our high-grade business. But next steps for us on W4 are pushing it along the path with subsequent studies and then doing that additional drilling and getting everything into measured.
Okay, so more broadly speaking on the EV nickel story, how does your high-grade W4 mesh with your large-scale Carling deposit?
Yeah, that's a great question. So these are the two tracks we're pushing along. So we've got our high-grade business, track 1, that starts with the W4. And then track 2 is we call it large-scale, AKA low-grade. That's that Carling. So that extends over 10 kilometers in the northeastern part of our land package. We drilled the first 20% of it, the A zone, and we got a 1 billion ton resource that comes to surface, and it's at 0.24, 0.25% nickel. So lower grade, but there's loads of it. So over 2.4 million tons of contained nickel there. So when you do the math to how many electric vehicles are in the ground at today's sort of average battery size, it's over 37 million EVs. And that's only the first 20% of what we know the Carling to be based on historic drilling. So the Carling is an incredible project. It's the 5th largest undeveloped nickel sulfide in the world right now. And that's only the first 20%. So that is a world-class deposit, low grade, and it works quite nicely with our high grade business with the W4, because again, we're hoping to get W4 up into production in 3 to 4 years. That Carling is a little longer track. So we will look at a phased process to get ourselves into the nickel business. And I'll tell you that low grade, the large scale, is very attractive to much larger mining companies as well.
Thank you. And being the CEO of a junior mining company, it might be a loaded question, but because everyone thinks of themselves as being undervalued, but how do you think EV Nickel currently stacks up against the competitors?
Yeah, that is something that all junior mining companies are complaining about. But I'll tell you, now that we have these resources on the board, from the perspective of enterprise value to resource ton in the ground, we are way behind where our peers are. So we have in our investor relations slides the top 10 undeveloped nickel sulfide projects in the world. Again, Carling is the 5th biggest, and that average, those top 10, trade for over $100 per ton of nickel in the ground, and EV nickel trades for $1 enterprise value in the ground. So if you look at the numbers, we are hugely undervalued, and that's just our low grade. That's just our large scale project. When you bolt on this great high grade mineralization, which we announced that we doubled today, and it's all within 500 meters of surface, the grade we have on W4, that's the type of nickel grade that gets turned into mines usually. So I think we've got an incredible opportunity here between those two tracks of mineralization. And then we're doing a load of work on top around our clean nickel strategy. So that's our trademarked term, clean nickel. And we're doing a bunch of non-drilling R&D on that front, which is really exciting. And it's supported as well by federal and provincial money, which is supporting us from the government.
Perfect. And Sean, you'll be conducting a live Q&A session on June 15th at 11 a.m., correct? Eastern time. Will that be only you, or will Paul be joining you as well?
Yeah, Paul Davis, my VP of Exploration, will be on that with me. So on that call, we'll talk about today's news, the new resource for W4, and really beginning to set up what's next for both of our tracks and for the clean nickel work as well. But Paul's the key guy. He's the one who discovered all this mineralization and really got the resource across the line. And we look forward to talking to investors later this week.
Perfect. And I saw that reg link in your press release, so people can
Yeah,
go there to sign up. Thank you so much, Sean, for your time.
super. Thanks.